Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jamal Starks, and let's queer up the USA view. Trump government erases bi trans voices from Stonewall website. In what LGBTQ advocates are calling another targeted attack, the Trump administration seems to be further erasing queer history, this time by editing out bisexual people from the official website for Stonewall National Monument. The New York-based monument honoring the historic 1969 riots led by transgender women of color outside the Stonewall Inn recently saw a quiet but alarming change. Several mentions of the bisexual individuals have largely been scrubbed from the site's description, dropping 8 references to just 2. This follows a February move by the National Park Service to remove trans-inclusive language from the same site. On July 10th, journalist Erin in the Morning posted that the entire LGBTQ+ acronym has been erased, with wording suggesting only lesbian and gay. Lesbian and gay people were the part of Stonewall uprising. Archived versions of the website confirm the gradual deletions. Still, the education section includes images of legendary trans and bisexual activists like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, central figures in the 1969 riots. A GLAAD spokesperson condemned the changes as, quote, blatant attempts to erase the legacies of transgender and queer Americans, end quote. The National Park Service's page for Stonewall National Monument shows an update on July 11th and currently reflects that bisexual has been restored. Quote, before the 1960s, almost everything about living authentically as a lesbian, a bisexual person, or a gay man was illegal, end quote. A March petition opposing the edits has already garnered over 47,000 signatures as the LGBTQ+ community continues to fight for visibility and historical truth. The changes come as part of a continued campaign by the U.S. government to erase vital queer resources from official websites, including pages on HIV prevention, statistics on homophobic and transphobic violence, and more. And here we go. Here we go. I just said this, and it starts quietly. You know, everything starts as a murmur until it becomes loud. And here, the murmur is language. All of this language has been fostered, has been developed in order to bring voices to the table that have been unheard. Mm-hmm. And now, as you erase these things away from literally the Stonewall National Monument, like, come on. It's a gay monument, and we're erasing the now progressive language that we have garnered, that we have blood, sweat, and tears have gone into this. Little by little, these are the things that happen that lead us more into fascism, that lead us more into an oppressive country and an oppressive system. And it's just really sad to see. It's sad to see, but also most of you Americans wanted it. So that's also the sickening part.
Like you say, the language is all about, it's so important, right? But they do it quietly, right? Wasn't it Arlington Cemetery or something like that they took out like all the black folks that were buried there?
And the Smithsonian.
And no one is up in arms. You know what I mean? Like, I'm taken back to when Elian Gonzalez was taken back to Cuba, that Miami was up in an uproar. All the highways were stuck. Everybody was out there protesting like it was crazy, for this kid that didn't even belong here, right? And no one got mad at that, taking out a bunch of, taking out the people who fought for this country, right? Colin Powell was in there, Anyway, but like quietly, like you're saying, right? It's quietly. So like what was it? Okay, the version of the Stonewall Museum used to say almost everything about living openly as a lesbian, gay, bisexual person was illegal, right? Now it says before the 1960s, almost everything about living authentically as a gay or lesbian person was illegal. So it's taken everybody out except the L and the G.
Right.
That's disgusting.
Right.
You know, and again, we know the stories of the Stonewall uprising. That's why we celebrate Pride, right? None of that would have been possible without Black trans people throwing a brick or a shot glass, depending on who you ask. The story doesn't change.
Right.
That's what happened.
I was, it's interesting because we've done a few stories. One is, they've removed asexual. The government, we did a story on that many months ago about asexuality being removed. Obviously our transgender population, and now attacking bisexual. And we just did a story last week that over 55% of the LGBTQ population actually identifies bisexual. So that's a very large group of people. We need to step up more. Speak up.
For sure. That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.